Before we start, I want you to ask the person beside you how much money they make. Okay, no, I'm not gonna put you on the spot like that. I appreciate the enthusiasm. But I do want to break a rule today and talk to you about money. We all think about it, try to earn more of it, idolize other people over it, but like Joe just felt, no one really wants to talk about it. It's like Fight Club. First rule of money is don't talk about money. But today, I'm breaking that rule. I want to share with you some of my awkward truths about money. I'm going to tell you a story of how I realized I was stuck in a scarcity mindset and how I got out of it, mostly. Picture me, 16 years old, sitting on the couch, tapping my feet, waiting for my community theater's next production to release its cast list. Now, I had been around the block a few times with theater, gotten a few lead roles, and I fully expected I was going to get the part that I had auditioned for. When I didn't, I ran to a friend, and I cried, and I told him I wanted to quit. And he said, imagine what it'll be like when we actually try to make money from acting. We'll be jumping from paycheck to paycheck, gig to gig, just grateful for anything that pays. He found it funny, an inevitability. I found it terrifying. I immediately started worrying about whether or not I could make it successfully as an actor. I started considering other paths, worrying that, like my parents, I'd attend an arts college and end up in a ton of debt, and then end up changing careers anyway. I talked to a casting director I knew about this, and he said, to be happy as a professional actor, it must be your singular plan, your singular goal. If you have a plan B, choose that instead, because that's probably where you'll end up. He sounded just like that, by the way. That's the moment I subconsciously decided financial stability was more important to me than pursuing a dream. So I chose a career field that seemed to have more secure job prospects in it. Something that would keep me employed for the rest of my life, that would always be in demand, that would obviously make me wealthy. What did I choose? Journalism. I know, I can read your thoughts. She wanted a stable career and she chose journalism. Listen, I wanted to be a doctor after watching like 1 million episodes of Grey's Anatomy, but I figured I probably stand at a lower risk of accidentally killing someone from writing scripts, so, so far so good. Back to high school. I worked my butt off through my final year to secure a scholarship that granted me $4,000 per year towards post-secondary. I applied to every grant and bursary. I worked a service job and I babysat to save up too. But nothing could have prepared me for the challenge I was going to face when I entered university. Suddenly, I was in a whole new league. I had to maintain a 3.9 CGPA to keep that scholarship I had worked so hard for. I worked 2 jobs on campus, and on top of that, I kept volunteering to secure those future job prospects. While some of my friends went out for dinners and to bars every single week, I was rushing to get another shift at the library, fueled by cheap coffee and the fear of losing my scholarship. I felt angry, and I compared myself constantly. My family moved to Canada when I was 6 years old, and my parents, like I said earlier, carried a lot of American student loan debt with them. I watched them worry about it constantly. New to the country, they didn't know what an RESP was, they didn't set up a tuition savings account for me, and at the time, I cursed them for it. I cursed my friends and their safety nets and their allowances. I cursed myself for not eating more breakfast that morning as the brain fog started to set in. And when I wasn't cursing anybody or anything, I was living in constant fear over my financial future. It was only years later I realized I wasn't just chasing financial stability. I was trapped in a scarcity mindset. So what is scarcity mindset? Well, scarcity mindset is kind of like having tunnel vision. When you're so focused on survival, you can't think about growth or joy or opportunity. You're too busy calculating how to get to the next paycheck, how to pay the next bill, how to pass the next exam. The term was coined by author Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the opposite of scarcity mindset is abundance mindset. Now, if any of what I say in this next bit resonates with you, if you relate, just give me a little hand up or a woo, okay? Cool, thank you. So someone with scarcity mindset would maybe focus on their own limitations instead of on opportunities. They'd be hyper-focused on short-term, current financial struggles instead of looking at the big picture. They'd micromanage their own spending, not wanting to put money into anything or spend on anything, even if maybe it's a worthwhile investment. For university students, this can look like choosing a major or even class electives that feel more practical, thinking they'll pay off once you graduate, instead of something that you feel passionate about but that you fear will be worthless. It can also look like not eating or sleeping enough, deprioritizing your health in favor of studying longer, working more, saving more. Can anyone relate to this? Okay, I'm not alone. And I think we can all agree that social media only makes it worse. I would see friends, amen, I would see friends posting about their trips to Europe while I was in Dollarama buying pasta. Or I would go on LinkedIn and I would see my peers accepting unpaid internships at their dream companies. They would talk about it in class. Once someone said to me, "I'll work for free as long as it takes before I get the job I want." Well, good for you. Must be nice to not have to worry about that, right? I didn't want to compare myself, my own situation, to theirs, but of course I did. I quietly resented the entire journalism industry. When I finally graduated, as an honors student with a truly horrible sleeping pattern, it felt like I was falling off a cliff. Suddenly, all the focus I had been putting into my studies turned into even more money anxiety. Where would I live? What would I do? Would I ever feel comfortable spending more than $8 on a bottle of wine? I was lucky for 2 reasons. 1, I had a job lined up, something I had been working towards since my first day at TMU. And 2, my mother, who had never been taught financial literacy a day in her life, took me to a financial advisor who set up a tax-free savings account for me on my 18th birthday, a TFSA. Thank you, Mom. This was the first time I had invested not just in the now, but in the future. We set up monthly payments. A few $100s a month. It's accruing interest. It's fine. I would obsess over looking at the growth of those accounts. I called my financial advisor like 5 times that first year, making sure if I had to pull out all of the money in the accounts, I could. A year later, during COVID, there was a dip in the market, and I literally almost did take everything out, but I trusted the process and stayed the course with a knot in my stomach the size of a whale. I lived with my mom for more than a year after graduation, saving every penny. I almost never got takeout. I deleted the Uber app off my phone. I turned down invitations to see friends. I put more money into my investments, and I'd basically take anything free that I could get. You bet I'm walking out of here with a delegate bag. When the house we lived in needed to go up for sale, I realized I had to move out. Every grad's worst nightmare. How am I going to make this work? I don't even like spending $20 on food, much less putting half of my monthly pay towards rent. But I found a place within budget. I got a ton of free furniture from family friends. I spent as little as I possibly could on my first grocery run, and I sat down to make a budget. Immediate panic attack. I literally mean immediate. It literally looked something like this. I was like, okay, Mercedes, you're a big girl. You're literally graduated. Like, you're fine. Put your big girl pants on. Okay, get a notebook. All right, okay, maybe like some music. Some music will hype me up, right? What's gonna work? Boss Bitch by Doja Cat. That's perfect. I sat down and I wrote and rewrote everything that I needed to survive. I looked at the last 3 months of my credit card statements and I compared everything to my income to make a budget. And then I cried. Full transparency, I ran to Spotify to see if I could get another year of student rate for premium because Doja Cat was about to be infiltrated by "Want a break from the ads?" But for the first time, I felt somewhat in control of my money. For the first time, I really believed that as hard as it was, I would be able to make it work. I started to think of myself as a business owner, like the CEO of my own money. It's been almost 2 years since that day, and I want to share with you a few tips for overcoming scarcity mindset that helped me to this very day. First, the financial literacy aspects. Budgeting. Frame it as empowering, not limiting. Your budget is not a punishment. It's a roadmap to freedom. It tells you where you can go and what's possible. and sometimes what's not possible, at least for the moment. Next, debunk the myths. I always thought, I'll start saving when I make more money. But the truth is, you don't need to be rich to save. You just need to have a plan. And FYI, a plan is not walking past your favorite coffee shop every day and denying yourself a little treat, okay? It's about paying yourself first. When you get that paycheck, after you pay your bills, put a monthly payment into a savings account and don't touch it. See it as another bill. Anything left over? Do what you want. Third, investing is magic. And I promise I am not saying that in like a finance bro kind of way. Understanding compound interest was truly a game changer for me. By putting my money in the right places, it was multiplying in my sleep, and I didn't need to invest in Bitcoin or join a pyramid scheme to get there. How did I start? Great question. My TFSA was a great foundation at 18. After I paid off my student loans and had earned a few steady paychecks, I invested more, low-risk stocks, mutual funds, a high-yield savings account, and most recently, a first home savings account, fingers crossed. Now I have a nest egg that I couldn't have imagined myself having when I invested those first few $100s. To add on to that, don't be afraid to ask for help when it comes to the money stuff. There are people out there who live and breathe this stuff, some of whom might be in this very room. I don't think I would feel as positively as I do about it today if I had jumped in on my own. Having a financial advisor for me is as important as having a dentist. Now, the psychological aspects. Have any of you heard of opportunity cost? Okay, so simply, it's the value of what you give up when you choose one option over another. In this context, it's about weighing the value of the experience you're gaining now against the income that you're giving up. For example, if you buy a new outfit for a night out instead of saving that money, the opportunity cost could be a future purchase you were saving for, like maybe a trip or a new laptop. Or if you sign up for a study abroad program to immerse yourself in a new culture, the opportunity cost might be tuition or savings that you feel like you could have used elsewhere. Or if you take a weekend off to attend a conference like this one, the opportunity cost could be missing out on hours to focus on your side hustle, right? Yeah, she gets it. But focusing on opportunity cost can often reinforce a scarcity mindset, where we become overly fixated on the money we're losing rather than what we could gain. When we view every decision through the lens of what we give up, it can make us feel as though resources, whether time, money, or opportunities, are always in short supply. This mindset can lead to constant worry about making the right choice, preventing us from taking risks or enjoying the present or doing things that might be scary but bring us long-term rewards. But if we flip that mindset, suddenly every decision becomes an opportunity to grow, rather than just another credit card charge to regret later. Now I want to quickly talk about gratitude, which goes hand in hand with what I said about opportunity cost. You have to start focusing on what you have, not what you don't. Have you ever found a $5 bill in your pocket? Hands up if you have. Okay, yeah, it's amazing, right? It's like a little gift to yourself from yourself. Celebrate that. Every small win. Maybe you hate your job, okay? You have a paycheck coming in. Maybe you're super stressed about finishing an extra credit assignment. Okay, well, it's an opportunity to bring up your grade. Maybe your girlfriend just broke up with you. Okay, well, you don't have to pay for dates anymore. Gratitude helped me realize that every small win, every little possession was an opportunity to feel abundant rather than lacking. By focusing on what you do have and appreciating its value, you shift your perspective from not enough to more than enough. Next, learning to release. It is a habit for many of us with scarcity mindset to never let things go. I would literally take home a handful of French fries as leftovers because food is money, right? And I'm not proud to say it, but I ate a lot of expired groceries. One time, my partner threw away chicken that did not smell right, and I actually started to cry thinking about the $20 that I had wasted. Chicken's expensive, okay? Well, this hoarding was a way of punishing myself, of believing that the money in my bank account was more important than my health and everyday needs. I still shop for deals at the store, but I don't feel ashamed anymore when I don't finish something. Finally, spending on yourself. And I don't mean buying everything on your Amazon wish list or getting DoorDash every night, okay? Choosing to spend the extra money you do have on things that actually improve your life and make you smile. For me, this was most importantly about seeing myself as worthy, of being spent on and not waiting for someone else to spend that money on me. Now, I want to end this talk by providing you the reassurance that I really could have used when I was in school. If you're worried about finding a job after graduation, and I know you are, you're not alone. But the good news is, a recent study showed 86% of Ontario grads are employed within 6 months of graduating, and 95% within 2 years. Realistically, you're going to be okay. Second, as a reminder, many of us inherit scarcity mindset from our families. The feeling in my household often was save every penny or you'll end up in debt. That fear often served my family and their families in hard times, but inherited financial fear does not have to define us. It's up to you to break the generational curse and do better for the next. I also want to remind you of a truth that I think you already know about yourself. No matter how tight things have been financially, you've always found a way to make it work. And deep down, you've always known resilience is your superpower. So dream big, plan smart, and trust yourself. Breaking the scarcity mindset starts with us. So please, don't let your fear of the future rob you of the joy of the present. I believe that confidence, not comparison, is the real currency of success. Thank you.